All right now, we live. We live.
Here we go.
It's going down. So there it is. I see it. Okay, so you can share it to your page
All
if you
right.
want to. All right, y'all, come on through. Okay, let me see. I need to put your website in right quick. What's your website? Peer to peer whole wellness.
.org.
Okay, we got one in the room.
That's a blessing.
Yep. All right, here we go. Y'all come on through. Come on through. Tonight on this good old Friday night at 8 o'clock. Hey, cuz. Hey, Shalana. You such a beautiful queen yourself. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Don't know how long you're going to stay, but thank you for coming through. I do not own the rights to this music. You so sweet. Hey, Tony. Hey, Tony Atkins. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, thank you, cuz. Now, where you now? Are you on my main Facebook page or are you on Facebook.com/that girl Shei Atkins?
Are you talking to me?
Oh no, I'm talking to my cousin.
Oh, okay. I was like, no.
That's so sweet. Thank you. We're gonna wait a couple of more minutes. Thank y'all for tuning in from wherever you are. Let me know where you are tuning in from. And I just want to say thank you. Your girl been gone for about a couple of months, but I'm here. The main one. Oh no, I was just trying to see because I might not be able to see some people comments because it's on three. It's on my YouTube live, on my other page live, and this one live. So I was trying to see where I could see most of the comments at. Come on, Temple, Texas. Temple, Texas in the house. Hey, if y'all know anybody that's battling addiction, substance abuse, please share this to your page. Like it and share it so we can get it in the algorithm so we can get it to more people because you know how there's no algorithm going on. Let's see. All right now. One more minute or two. Come on through. Come on through to the self love journey. And you turn it for good. You turn it for good. Mm. Come on through. Mm. Poem. Lord, which one? Help me. Help me bring it to my memory. Bring it to my memory. Poem. Yeah, bring it to my memory. Cause it ain't on the forefront of my mind right now. You tagged it for my brother. I don't think I saw it. I don't send it to me, message it to me, or tag it again, or message it to me, cause I don't remember seeing the poem. Mm-mm. Yeah, send it to me so you making sure I see it and I can share it. Okay, we're gonna get started. Make sure y'all share and like. Okay, yeah, send it to me. How y'all doing? Welcome to the Self Love Journey Conversations with Shei Atkins, where we learn how to have a healthy relationship with ourselves. This is episode 23. Tonight I got Jack Brown with us. Now, let me see, I talked to Jack Brown on episode 11 earlier this year in January. So I wanted him to come back so he can update us on what's going on. So y'all make sure y'all go watch episode 11 and we're going to touch on some of the stuff that we touched on, which is addiction and overcoming substance abuse. But I think it's just really, really, really important to keep talking about it because it's a lot of us going through. A lot of us are being affected by whether it's our own struggles or whether it's family members. And Jack Brown, like he is just my inspiration. He is really I call him my bro, which is like AKA hero, but bro because I found him going through earlier this year. Just going through a lot of anxiety because a lot of y'all know that my brother passed away on July 28th. And for those that knew him, they know that he been battling drug addiction for a long time since high school. High school. So imagine, your sibling uh, battling substance abuse all that time, all the way up until early this year, and it was got worse and worse. And he battled PCP, probably along with some other things, but that PCP, got so bad uh earlier this year to where the hallucinations and the paranoia was really bad, and it was really had me it affected me, like my anxiety was on on edge. And so it had me like, man, this thing is really strong. Like any drug is strong, but this is the particular drug that you know we dealing with my brother. So I'm like, dang, this thing is strong. He been doing it for so long. We've been praying, we've been crying out, and we don't see no change. I'm like, has anybody ever actually overcome this thing? And so I went to YouTube in January, like, let me see if I need some inspiration, I need some encouragement right now. This thing here is really getting to me. And so I YouTube, PCP, somebody overcoming. And I ran across an interview of Jack Brown was sharing his journey of how he overcame. And it was kind of like the same thing over 20 years, just like my brother. So he was like my brother, he was the testimony to what God could do for my brother because he did it for him. Unfortunately, my brother ended up passing away in July, but that don't mean that God can't do it because I'm looking at a miracle right now. And I just wanted him to come back and talk to us about addiction again because a lot of us are affected by it in some way through some family member. It's in all our family. So I just want to introduce to y'all Mr. Jack Brown again. Clap, 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 clap.
Yay! Thank you for having me back for round
Yeah.
two.
Yep. Round two. Was you finna say something?
I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking. Go ahead. First question. I know
Okay.
you got one.
Well, yeah, I just want you to kind of talk to the people about addiction, like just what you learned about addiction on this journey. Because I'm sure it's a lot of people watching that's battling it and maybe hopeless, probably thinking, what, this thing ain't gonna never be able to shake this, or because as I can see with my brother, it ain't easy to shake. Hearing your journey, it ain't easy to shake. So, what can you get of people? You know what I'm saying concerning addiction, and what have you learned about
So the first thing I'll say is like the key to addiction is education, and education just doesn't start with like the recovering addict. It also starts with the family. Like, so the family needs to be educated to what the actual person is going through, right? Or some of the symptoms and the signs. They need to know what relapse behavior looks like, or they need to know what triggers look like, and be able to have that open conversation with their loved one to where that person will share like their triggers, like if you're short or if you're having racing thoughts or something. It's hard to it was hard for me to reach out to help because of judgment and stigma, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
the lack of knowledge of what I'm going through or what I'm fighting doesn't make it any better. Case in point, so my wife is a normie, is what they call her. Like she's never had a drug problem or anything. She very seldom has a drink. And so being introduced to the recovery world through me was new. And so I had to take a lot of time to introduce her to the verbiage and what sponsorship is and what 12-step fellowships are and things of that nature and making meetings, because a lot of people have the misconception that like you can go to treatment for 28 days and when you come home everything is going to be fine. But recovery is just like a diet. You ever see anybody do a diet, they lose the weight but they gain the weight back because
Mm-hmm.
they don't continue the maintenance of that said diet to keep the weight off. Well, recovery
Mm-hmm.
is the same thing. There's a maintenance that comes along with your recovery, right? And for me, I participate in the 12-step fellowship, right? And so my wife knows about sponsorship. And she knows my sponsor personally. She knows about the 12 steps, and she'll and caught me off guard, like, what step you on? And when did you meet with your sponsor? And when's the last time you've been to a meeting? And have you had any cravings? And in the beginning, I used to get offended by that, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the truth of the matter is, I need that accountability, especially when it comes from home. It looks and it feels good when someone you love is actually engaged in your recovery. You know,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I can remember, I've always craved a connection. I always wanted friends, and so all the cool kids got high and they drank, and so I thought that was gonna put me in the cool kid club, and not knowing, like 20 years later, I was gonna end up being homeless, and there's no greater horrible feeling than wanting to quit getting high and can't.
Mm.
You don't know how. You can't. Like even when you don't want to get high, you get up and go get high.
Mm.
Those are some of the demons that you fight or that you go through. Wanting to get clean. That's just
Mm.
wanting to get clean. That's not getting clean and staying clean. That's just wanting to get clean. I like a dummy. I would tell some of my get high friends or colleagues or associates, whatever title we choose to give them, and that, hey man, I'm through. I'm not gonna get high anymore, and I just want to change my life. And they show up with what we call free dope, like it don't cost you a dime. And from that little one incident, it be a month and a half, 2 months free later before I even almost think I want to change again or get into recovery. So there's steps before the steps of recovery, is
Mm.
what I'll say.
Your steps before the steps.
It's steps before the steps. Having that support, it makes a difference. It really does.
Mm.
Um,
And you
when I
mentioned
went,
sponsor.
huh?
You mentioned somebody sponsor.
Oh yeah, that came
Ain't
later on. But like, so when I went to treatment by myself for myself. I didn't. My family wasn't like they wasn't on deck at all. They're like recovery. Not that it was foreign to them. It was that they had pretty much wrote their brother off because I'm an addict. I'm putting a bad name on the family name. You know what I mean?
so when you say they wrote you out, what you mean? You had burned so many bridges, they ain't want to fool with you no more.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much. Like I have a little sister right now that we live right here in Dallas together and we barely even talk, right?
Because you burnt the bridge.
Because I burnt that bridge. I ran off with the car one night,
Yeah.
then
Wow.
come back. And then, for my little brother, I was his hero. I was his role model, growing up. And so nobody wants to like mimic a dope fiend. Nobody wants to mimic an addict. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And so I,
Mm.
I haven't spoken to him physically in about 8 years now.
Mm.
Yeah, he's still mad. He big mad.
Wow. You was really cutting up out here in these streets.
I mean, I could say it was me, but it really wasn't me. It was the person I was pretending to be a part of that addictive world, if that makes any sense. It wasn't never really me. It was the dope.
Mm.
Drugs make you burn some bridges and not think about it, and you never. And that's why they say addiction is a family disease. Not only does the person that's getting high is affected, but the family as well. Because my little brother and my sister lost their brother. My nieces and my nephews, they lost their uncle. You know what I'm saying? That they were accustomed to seeing and being a part of their life. Now I'm so far gone. I don't even want to go home. I don't even know what home looked like until home wasn't even existent anymore. Like till I didn't even have a home to go to.
Mm. Wow. And so you got sick and tired, and you got sick and tired because somebody watching, you know, wanting to know, okay, I'm tired. And you said that you wanted to get clean, but you couldn't.
Because like how do
Look,
I?
he,
So I wanted to get yeah. Yep, taking responsibility is where it starts. Like it has to start with the individual, right? Like I wanted when I got clean, I wanted to get clean. I wanted recovery. You know what I mean? And
mm-hmm,
so because I wanted it, I jumped into it like head first, like no tomorrow. Like I read everything I could read. I implemented everything that someone suggested, like because I no longer knew how to live a regular life, right? I had
mm,
been living so savagely on the streets where,
mm-hmm,
humanity was like over here. Being humane was like long gone. So I had to like be retaught how to be humane, like be caring,
mm,
be of service,
mm.
taking ownership, being responsible. Like when
Because you
I
can be
first got,
selfish.
huh?
Addicts can be real selfish.
Oh yeah, because I don't feel like I'm hurting no one but me. Right? I'm not understanding that
Mm-hmm.
I'm hurting my fun. I'm hurting my sons. Like me and my kids have a shaky relationship because of
Wow.
my addiction. Because I wasn't
Wow.
there.
Wow.
1 minute we good, next minute, they traumatized from my absence. So 1 minute we
Wow.
good, next minute we not. 1 minute we good, and it's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like no matter there is no amount of good that I could do today that could like heal them from the pain that I caused them of the past. If that makes
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And it's something to think about. And like, can you actually, I guess you can, like my brother, it got so bad to those hallucinations. He was actually, that paranoia and stuff like that. Sometimes you can get to a place where ain't no coming back, huh?
sense. Some people.
Like
I
it can
mean,
do so much damage to your mind, or
so PCP is a hallucinogen anyway, and so it's like killing 10,000 brain cells every time you use it. And so in addiction, they like to call it a drug-induced psychosis. You know what I'm saying? So if the body like if the body never takes time to detox from that drug and you just keep putting drug on top of that drug, that's where the paranoia and the hallucination kicks in, and it's hard to detox. Scents or like smells are triggering. There's this certain side of Dallas that I can pass by any time of the day on the freeway in my car with the windows rolled up, and I swear I can smell PCP because I know I used to get it over there in that particular area.
wow. Yeah.
Now I'm clutching the steering wheel. I'm like, oh my God, don't exit,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, right.
That was early in recovery because I wasn't like used to any of that. Now, like, and the going back to the sponsorship thing, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling.
Oh, you all right?
So I told my sponsor, like, man, every time I pass the freeway, I smell whack. He was like, well, where are you going? I said, man, I'm going over here to the VA. He said, well, can't you take 35 the other way? Why you got to go down that particular freeway? Why you got to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
down
yeah.
35? And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay, I'll just go down 35. So that's the importance of sponsorship. Somebody to like bounce something off of to help provide you with a simple solution, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, simple solution. So what did you learn about yourself in recovery that helped
Oh,
you? Yeah, what did you learn about yourself? Somebody might be
um,
watching, that needs to hear this.
so I learned that I have this inner child inside that has a lot of trauma, and I never dealt with that trauma. So, um, even though I originally started out like just trying to hang out with the cool kids, really, to be honest, I was just self medicating from like the abandonment issues I have from like my mother and father not being there,
Mm,
and not having been a part of my siblings' lives. Like I have several sisters and several brothers that were raised in Shreveport, Louisiana, that I've only got to meet maybe 7, 8 years ago now, right?
mm-hmm,
Like I was like, well, almost 10, because no, I was 42 possibly when I found them, and I'm 50 now. So it's been like right at 8 years. But
mm-hmm,
I've always craved family, and so growing up, that was traumatizing for me. Having an alcoholic stepmom cussing me out and calling me everything except a child of God, that was traumatizing for me.
mm-hmm.
I laugh and I play about it, and I tell people, yeah, I've been driving cars since I was 9. Well, literally, I have been, because my stepmom got so drunk that she pulled over and made me drive home at 9 years old.
Wow.
That's traumatizing as
Yeah,
a
that is.
kid. Like I could barely reach the pedal.
Yeah.
So, but we never talk about that. Like my stepmom used to send me to the bootleg.
Wow.
Imagine me 8 and 9 going into a bootleg, and it's all kinds of stuff going on. And so, like, just I call it the underworld. So I've always like been attracted to that for some
Yeah.
reason. And so when I started getting high and I got into the fast pace of addiction, it was like second nature to me.
Mm.
And so
Wow.
now recovery is more second nature to me, because I had to learn how to live. I didn't know how to live.
Right.
Like paying bills, that's new to me. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
being responsible. As an addict and being homeless, you don't have no bills.
That's right.
The only bill you got is you. So you
Yeah.
might that day, you might not. It's your choice though. And I do mean I had to learn how to pay bills. Hell, I get the light bill and have an anxiety attack nowadays. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Um, Paying car notes, all of that. Hell, being a husband, that's a job.
Yeah. That's right. And that's true, because addiction, I remember you saying on episode 11 that addiction doesn't allow you to maintain regular things, that, job, stuff
Right.
like that. You'll sabotage it.
Oh, self-sabotage. You like early on in my recovery, like almost like every 90 days I would relapse. No. And it's funny she said that, because my daddy was a heroin addict, and he used to always lock up in the bathroom him and other addicts, and they would like shoot up, right? But I never seen it, so I couldn't say I didn't want to. You know what I mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
was just, as a kid, I was just so happy to be there with my dad. You know what I'm saying? In the slums of Oak Cliff, in Dallas, Texas, I was just
Yeah.
wanting to be by my dad. I didn't care what he did.
Wow.
You know, and
Yeah.
so I didn't know. Now later on, when I decided I wanted to be a drug dealer,
My, my,
um,
my.
I looked at like addicts. Even then, I could look. Somebody would come score, and I'd be like, "Man, you don't even look like you fit into this world. Like you look like you come from like good genes,
Yeah.
good family. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?" And the thing about it is, a lot of us do.
Mm-hmm.
We just lost our way.
My, 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 my.
You know, most of the homeless people I've met have degrees and doctors and lawyers and like teachers, and they had families and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And so we don't know what that breaking period was. Like for me, when my aunt and uncle that raised me, when they passed away, that was it. That's like
Mm.
that's when addiction like really like went full blown. Because as a kid, I was an athlete and I didn't like really drinking. I just did it because it was the thing to do in high school. Didn't like weed because I love sports, but not knowing how to grieve the loss of the only people that really love me, like that's how my addiction spiraled out of place, if that makes any sense.
Mm. So did you go looking for something, or like for me, everybody different. I was praise and worship leader in the church. Da 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 da. Was a wife, but when it got to where pain will reveal your character to you, it will reveal what's in you. How you handle it. And for me, I purposely became an alcoholic. I was like, this what I'm gonna do. Life is over. Ain't no hope here. This over, this over. Shoot. Shei Atkins is dead. And I'm serious. That's what I said. And I just started drinking, and for 7 years, I was a stone cold. I kept a flask on me, and I wish it would tell me to try to take it from me. Like that was my best friend, like on purpose. So, did you go looking for it, or to none?
So like I had a couple of homeboys that like they did it, and it just got like so. I was drinking like Strawberry Hill, Boone's Farm, and smoking a little weed. It just got to the point where that wouldn't numb the pain anymore, and so I asked my homeboy, "Hey man, let's go up here and get some dip," and he was like, "Okay." And
Mm.
that everybody quick to turn you on. They don't know. They don't say, "No, this ain't good for you.
Right, right,
Don't
right.
don't try this."
That's
And
right.
and so like he seen it as a free hire because I was paying for it.
Mm.
And so boom, we did it, and um, I didn't feel any pain for a minute.
Mm.
I didn't feel
Wow.
abandonment. I didn't feel alone. I didn't feel any of that. And so that became my new best friend.
Wow.
I was like, oh, this gonna take the pain away. And I'm like, okay, well, shoot, I got a lot of pain. And so
Wow.
it was just a thing to do every day. That's self-medication. Addiction is just another form of self-medication, right? Um, and self-medication could look like shopping. It could look like working out. It could look like overeating. I
Yeah.
mean, self-medication is just exactly what it sounds like.
That's
Self-medication.
right.
It's doing whatever you have to do to change the way that you feel at that present time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I did a lot of self medicating, and it just got to the point where I needed other substances to even change that. I have no idea where to do that. Like, when you get clean, you a lot of get high friends drop off. Like I've seen a couple of people that I've gotten high with, but they're in recovery now.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Like early in my recovery, I used to think, okay, I got 90 days clean. Let me go down here and show them that I'm clean. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
I be like, my thought process is like, if they need to see me clean, they'll be running the same circles I'm running.
Yeah.
Or they'll
Yeah.
catch me on Facebook, but I
Yeah.
don't go looking for them now.
I
So
know that's right. I know that's right. I was gonna ask you something. Yeah, self awareness. I was gonna ask you something about self awareness. Um, and knowing that you were numbing the pain. Uh, what did your healing process look like?
oh man, when you say inner, what do you mean? Like what was going on inside of me?
Yeah, because you said that your aunt, who was it? Your aunt and them passed away, and so that was it. Okay, you wanted to go get this dip because you said it was numbing the pain.
Right. So I don't share this with a lot of people. Like when my aunt and uncle passed away, I really just wanted to die.
Mm,
I was spoiled brat and sheltered, and so that's what I mean. I never knew how to pay bills, and I didn't know how to be a breadwinner and things of that nature. And then so all of the cruel, cold-hearted world that they had sheltered me from showed up on my front doorstep. I mean, starting with family first. They wasn't even in the ground good before family showed up and there was conflict and people wanted things, and I just really wanted to be left alone. And so I
Mm-hmm.
never really grieved. So I started getting high, joined the gang, and I was selling dope. And I decided that like this is who I was going to be, and my death was going to be bullets and gun smoke. Nobody was ever. If you would have told me that somebody was going to invite me to be on their show, I would have laughed at you. Like, I ain't no rapper. What I'm gonna be on the show for?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I just turned. I like to say I just turned to the dark side. I just embraced it. But really, to be honest with you, it was just a suicide plan that I had came up with. I was just too scary to like actually like try to do it myself. So I was gonna do everything I could to like piss people off or do something to people or do something outlandish that where it could possibly like one day in my life.
Mm. You didn't want to be here no more.
Mm-mm. No, because I never learned how to grieve. I didn't know. I didn't even know I was grieving.
Mm.
You know. Men don't cry and all of that good stuff. And so I just stuffed it and got high on top of getting the stuffing until one day it just actually exploded. But see, that's the thing about recovery. Recovery allows you to unlock that trauma and
Mm.
learn a little bit more about you. Like going through it right then, um, I didn't even know I was grieving. Like in the midst of going through it, I didn't even know I wasn't grieving. Let's try that.
Mm. Right, 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 right.
um, what made me stop? I got tired of surviving. What healed my pain was like step work, working on myself, working on inner self, learning more about self, being able to put some verbiage to some of the things or that I was feeling, like the abandonment issue or
Mm-hmm.
not knowing how to grieve or learning about the inner child that was never celebrated as a kid. And so I'm still doing temper tantrums at freaking 50. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
You know, that little inner child, that little boy show
yeah,
up sometime.
yeah. You know what? But that's true because the Lord was speaking to me. I was driving because I got my own issues. I've been healing from codependency, and I just heard that the inner child is crying out. The inner child is just crying out for validation, for love, and I just have to do more healing concerning my inner child. It's
Oh yeah,
true. It's very true.
and case in point, like so before I had found my mom, my biological mother, and she passed away, it had been like 25, almost 30 years. And so when I found her, I had this great Maury Porridge, reunion that was gonna freaking happen, and we were gonna sit down and have a conversation, and I was gonna get closure. Well,
Mm.
that conversation never happened. My mama was a G to the end. And I love my mama, but she was a G. She was gangster. She didn't show emotion. She didn't show feelings. I seen
Oh
my
yeah.
mama cry one time. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? And that was it. You know. And so the inner child showed up. I'm like, Mama, we need to talk. We need, how dare you? I ain't seen you in, we need to have this conversation. But what I had to get with was I had to quit throwing my temper tantrum first of all, and come to the realization maybe she didn't know how to have that conversation.
Yeah. And that's
And she,
painful.
yeah, because you want to, I want to know why you went and had six more kids and left me here in Texas. But what I didn't want to hear was like one of the hardest decisions she probably ever had to make was to leave me with my uncle and aunt because they could provide a life for me that she couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what recovery does. Recovery gives you a different perspective. I'm,
Right.
I'm selfish by nature, right?
Mm.
But I'm
Yeah.
learning how to be selfless.
Yeah. You have to learn how to be selfless.
Yeah. Think
Yeah.
about it. I get up every day in addiction. I get up every day, and the only person I'm responsible for is me,
Yeah.
right? To where now I get up every day and I feel like I got the weight of the world on me because people are watching my every step. Some wishing me to slip and fall, and some like you, like my biggest fan. You're my biggest
Yeah.
cheerleader, right?
Yeah.
You want to see me succeed, but
Yeah.
sometimes that pressure is hellacious. My anxiety be through the roof.
Yeah.
I've had panic attacks. They've
Yeah.
gotten better, but I've been having panic attacks.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to share is like recovery during a pandemic is 10 times harder than just regular recovery because inner healing starts with connection, right? You know, I
Mhm.
follow you, Shay, and I see who you're connected to, and y'all encourage each other. Hey, Queen, good morning. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
things of that
yeah.
nature, right?
Yeah.
And so for the recovering addict, all we have is another person in recovery. Well, if you shelter us in place or say we can't attend this venue at this time, then who do we have to talk to? Who's encouraging us? So since the pandemic, the numbers for individuals relapsing have increased,
Mm.
possibly double. And I'm talking like people not with 4 or 5 days clean, not with 2 weeks clean. I'm talking about people with 15, 20 years clean
Wow.
because we've been isolated because we don't have that physical. Well, we have been limited to like having that physical contact with one another. You know.
Mm.
So yeah, recovery, maintaining recovery during a pandemic. You know, a lot of people think the pandemic went somewhere, but that's a whole different show, Shay.
Yeah. I believe it. I believe it. And I always say I'm in, codependency recovery. Anything that you was addicted to or battling, you're gonna have to learn how to continue to do, what you need to do to heal and maintain, you know, your healing. And we'll never be perfect. We'll always be working on something, but
No, I seen a person share a meme one day and it just said under construction. And so that's my life. I'm like under construction for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? There's
yeah,
always gonna be something I need to add to, and there's always gonna be something I need to cut out. You know, like I no longer crave having 50, 60 friends. If I got two, I'm good. Like
yeah,
I literally have like two friends, two people I call friends right now. And I'm
yeah.
okay. I don't have to be the center of attention.
That's right.
I can be a background singer. I'm okay with that. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? But as long as we're like on the same journey, like recovery is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's a lifelong
Mhm.
marathon. And there's what a lot of people don't know is there are multiple pathways to recovery. I do want to share that. It's not all about AA and NA. You know,
Mhm.
you do have some faith-based recovery. You know, you have overcomers and you have celebrate recovery, things of that nature, right? That are more faith based. So if you come from a church background and you don't necessarily agree with AA and NA, there's
Yeah.
other revenues. If you don't like have the God thing going on, they have what they call smart recovery, right? You know, which is like it's not exactly AA and NA related and it's not faith based related, but it's more of a cognitive behavior therapy. Like it helps you change or program your thinking to a more
Mm.
positive aspect. So you know, don't just think you have to go to NA or AA to get clean or and stay clean. You know, I seen people come to AA and go to church and never come back, right?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
and church is their thing, you know. And I know some people like never been to a meeting a day in their life. They just woke up one day and said they was tired, and that's where it all begins. It begins with the
Yeah, that's true.
individual.
That's true. Cause I never went to, I put myself in the training. I put myself on the YouTube videos. I put myself in the work, the healing work, the prayers, the affirmations, like I did it myself, but that's what worked for me. But I might need, to talk to somebody in another area of my life. But when it comes to that, I was blessed to be able to have the strength to discipline myself.
So and that goes back to like what we were saying earlier, like you know, early on the show, like the education piece. You educated yourself to what codependency was, the
Yeah.
language and everything, and
Mhm.
now look, you're like encouraging people and you're
Yeah.
healing people. You're providing
Yeah.
them with the education they need about codependency.
Yeah. That's right.
So, and that's pretty much how this goes. You know, we learn. I learned things about me, and I just share things about me in hopes that it'll help someone else.
Yep, and that's what I love about you. Your genuineness. You're not fake. You're not trying to be something you're not. You just sharing your journey, and but you sharing your journey has been a blessing to my life. You
Well, thank you.
overcoming encouraged me, so keep doing what you're
Look,
doing.
it, I really appreciate you. Like, really, you have no idea because sometimes, I share the videos or I share a quote, and I might get 2 likes, and so
Yeah,
my little ego is bruised,
yeah, yeah,
and I'm like, oh man, they didn't get no attention.
yeah,
But later on, I get someone like you, like behind the scenes, and say, "Hey, Jack, I've seen your da 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 da, and it was so helpful." Or I'll get a comment from a YouTube video, and
yeah,
it'll be right on time, right? Like, okay,
yeah,
well, so I am reaching people, and so
yeah,
what I had to do is I had to check me, right?
yeah,
Like check my motive, check my agenda. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want to help people.
yeah,
it's not.
yeah.
It's not about um,
Validation.
right. Like, look at
Yeah,
me. Look at me.
yeah, right, 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 right.
Look,
That's
so
true. Because I learned that, people are always watching and they might not ever say anything because it's people's videos that I'm watching and that I ain't saying nothing. But they changed my life. And so you just got to know that just like when you did that interview, you didn't know that, I guess, a year later that somebody was going to need to hear your testimony for encouragement and change my
look,
whole life.
I was shocked. I'm like, what? I did that
You was,
video a year ago.
yeah, but I needed that at that time. I needed to see that it's possible. People need to see that it's possible, and you are that example. That don't mean that you might not have a temptation or whatever, but you pushing and you striving, putting one foot in front of the other, and people need to see that.
I do want to say this for anyone that's listening that has a loved one that is suffering from addiction. You know, don't give up on them if they relapse, if they fall short. You know, just keep encouraging them because it's hard. Like to start over is really really hard. To admit failure or defeat is really really hard. So encourage them, love on them. I'm not saying condone what they did. Let me get that part straight. Like no way whatsoever am I saying like yeah, but guilt and shame is two of the biggest offenders that keep an individual out in their addiction because self guilt, self shame, like oh man, I messed up again. Oh my God, I let the kids down again, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And
that
so
will make you. Yeah.
that just drives you out there even further. But if
Mhm.
somebody is like, hey, you can't stay with me, but I still love you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Hey, Carolyn, the beautiful Queen Carolyn. Yeah, that's important. To not enable. Also, I think people need to hear that too. You know, even the addict whose family is not allowing you to, have your way, is for your best interest. And it might piss you off, and it might make you mad. But if they continue to enable, where's the encouragement to change? Can you talk about that a little bit? Just the enabling and
Oh man, I got a story for you. So my favorite auntie in the whole wide world. I'm a Nina baby. She, I don't know, the disease of addiction told me to call her and put on my Oscar winning performance, right? And so I
mm-mm.
called her and I done got my tears up and everything. And I told her I was hungry. And the first thing she told me is, boy, you better stop crying. You come from a strong bloodline, so I ain't trying to hear that. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
I stopped crying, and she said, boy, what's wrong? I said, ain't I'm hungry. She's like, okay, give me an hour, and I'll come over there and I'll bring you something to eat. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking I'm going to get some money. And so my auntie showed up an hour later. She had me like a family order of chicken, a 20-ounce Pepsi, a pack of Newport cigarettes, and she gave me $5.
Mm.
And I was mad about that $5. I was hot. I was like,
Wow.
I can't get hot with this $5. First of all, is what I was thinking. And
Right.
second of all, I'm thinking, why you treat me like a dope fiend? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But the truth of the matter is, I needed that tough love at that time in order for me to even like, because I had already started the thought of recovery, and that just kind of pushed it over the edge. Like, okay, we're gonna do for you just enough, but we not finna like, I'm not finna support your habit. I needed that. I
Yeah.
need, I
You
needed
didn't
to know
want it,
that.
but you needed
Yeah,
it.
I needed that. It didn't feel good either, but I needed that. And guess what? I still got high with that same $5 while I was up there kicking and having a temper tantrum about that $5 and how dare she treat me like a dope fiend. I acted just like a dope fiend and found somebody and went half on some deal. And,
Wow.
and and I was like, and I remember sitting down later on that day and having a conversation with myself, like, boy, you out here bad. Like, you mad about this $5, but you spent that $5 just like an addict, just like a dope fiend. You did the same
Wow.
thing that another dope fiend or another addict. I'm gonna quit saying dope fiend. I'm gonna say an addict. Another addict would do. You spent it the same way. You went and found somebody to go half with, and so that really let me know that I was like, my life was out of control, and that I really needed to like, not knowing what self really was, but I knew I was better than addiction. I knew that much. I might not have knew
You,
nothing else, but I knew I was better than a life of addiction.
you knew you was better. Wow. That's something now. We talked about last time. Uh, you say healing soothes the soul or something like that. Because I was saying that once I started doing the healing work, healing my soul, healing my wounds, healing the pain, starting learning my value, um, the desire to drown my sorrows, it just kind of naturally went away on its own. And I think people need to know.
I mean, there's purpose in the pain. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It don't feel good, but there's purpose in the pain. Like, no one could ever told me that everything that I went through would be a testimony for someone else or encouraging for someone else. Like when I was going through it, you couldn't have told me, but it's gonna be a testimony. I would look
Yeah,
at you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like,
I ain't
like
trying to hear
what?
nothing about no testimony.
Not
Yeah,
right now. Quit talking to me about that
yeah,
guy, dude. He ain't mad
yeah,
at him right now.
yeah.
But
Right.
we not talking right now. So I'm
Yeah,
talking to you about him. But
yeah,
now on the flip side, it's like my pain has been tailor fit for empowering other people in recovery, right?
yeah,
Or encouraging other people in recovery is what I'll say. Um, but it all starts with like healing, like being okay, knowing that there's an inner child that is subject to have a temper tantrum in the next 5 minutes started the healing process. Like, I didn't even know the inner child that existed. I
yeah,
didn't know it was there,
yeah.
right? Like, what? The inner child. And
Right.
then being vulnerable enough to even embrace the fact that there's an inner child is healing. Like, we people of color, we tend to put on the Superman suit and try to be strong through
Yeah,
everything all the time,
yeah,
and all along on the inside, I'm broken, I'm fragile, and I really need to take some time for self instead of like portraying the image to everybody else. I need
hmm.
to like portray an image to me. I need
Come
to
on
find
now.
out. I need to find out who Jack is. Like, I say my favorite color is red, but now that I've been in recovery, I like multiple colors. I don't have to limit myself to one color. Society said you have to have a favorite color. No, Jack, I like green. I like blue. I don't know. Well, it's my choice today. you know.
Yeah,
Do I really like Chinese food or do I like it? I had to learn simple things like what do I
yeah,
really like to eat?
Yeah.
and all of that helped deal my little identity crisis that I was going through. I didn't have to play thug.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it like story behind the glasses. Like, the first show I didn't have on glasses. I was still too
Right.
I was still too cool for school.
Wow.
Like I can remember as a kid, I would always throw my glasses away. My mom give me a prayer, I throw them away because glasses were for nerds, right?
Wow.
Well, Jack, you kind of smart and you like odd things, and so you're a freaking nerd, dude. Like, embrace it. So, and you can't see.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So I said, I'm gonna go get me some stylish little glasses, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna grow up.
Yeah. Grow up. Yeah.
I'm gonna grow up. I'm gonna wear my glasses. Jack, you can't see, running over stuff in the middle of the night. So hey, embrace it. Everybody
Yeah.
gets old. Getting older is a privilege that everybody don't get. I've
Yeah.
been shot 7 times, shot myself 1 time, and
Mm.
I'm 50 years old. I'm still here by the grace. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you, Lord. You.
So, I don't really walk with a limp. Some days I do, but that's
Yeah.
because of arthritis. But, a lot of my partners not here.
Wow. And I want the people, if they're watching, to know that uh, it's never too late, because tell them everything that you done been through, your arrest, and
You mean
because somebody need to hear that though, for real.
you mean
How
the
many
five
times you been
felonies?
arrested? Yeah, five
I got
felonies,
5 felonies, 88 arrests.
88
Hot boy,
arrests. Do y'all
88
hear that?
arrests.
88 arrests, but he
I'm
didn't
talking
give
about.
up.
I've been in and out of jail so much. I can honestly tell you, I've seen people start their career as a sheriff and get ranked. Like the last time I went,
Wow,
this dude was like a sergeant, and he was like, "You here again?" And that just crushed me, Shay. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, it's bad when the guards were like, "Oh, it's you again?" Like, yeah, it's
wow,
me again.
yeah,
So yeah, if I can do it, you can do it.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? If I can do it, your brother can do it, your sister can do it, your auntie,
yeah,
your uncle can do it. It can be done, but it all has to be like nurtured. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It has to be groomed. Like you got to know, I have to know boundaries. Like I have like buddies all the time in recovery that relapse and call me like, Jack, I need somewhere to stay. You my bro, but you can't come live here. You can't come stay here. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Now I can take you
yeah,
to a meeting. Hey, let's go lunch. I can feed you.
yeah,
I'm not gonna give you no money. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah. You gotta
But
do that.
that's just where I'm at today.
Wow. And so, what's been going on since January? Since you did the show in January?
Oh man. I mean, so God has blessed me. Like, seemed like after our show, um, I just started getting emails and phone calls to be on other shows,
Come on,
like
come
a
on, Lord.
doctor up in New York. She reached out. My favorite thing though is that my outreach program, Feeding the Forgotten, it has grown. My volunteers have fell off, so if you're in the Dallas area, come join us. We need your help. But we're feeding like 250 people. I've been asked to help mentor the youth now, which I didn't see that coming.
Wow, come on, Lord.
I
Thank you, Lord.
was like, God, you show I don't do kids, I don't do
Mentor to
bad
you.
kids. But
Wow.
we did our first Labor Day event in the park in the hood where I kind of grew up, and it wasn't huge, but it was just
Hmm.
enough people, and seeing the smile on those kids' faces and the
Wow.
parents' faces, and even the adults that rode, it was something different for them. So God has just continued to bless me. For right now, we have some stable funding going on as far as like being able to continue what we do as far as outreach. So, I think I'm gonna go back to school.
Okay, come on, huh? Come on, Lord.
Yeah,
That's it, Lord.
I was like, okay, God, you sure? I got a
What you
whole
want to
bunch
do?
of. So either I'm going to finish my journey with a bachelor's in rehabilitation studies, or I'm going to go for a bachelor's in business administration.
Come on, Lord.
So, yeah.
He 50 years old. It ain't too late. He 50. You still got dream. Keep on dreaming.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That was the thing. Like I've always been a dreamer, but addiction like destroyed those dreams. But recovery bring them back.
Come
You
on,
know,
Lord.
I'm a high school dropout.
Mm.
I got my GED in jail,
Mm.
and I currently sit on two associate's degrees and several certifications. And I don't say that to brag. I just need you to know that it's never too late. Like I didn't go back to school till I was 40. It took me 5 years to get an associate's degree.
Yeah, but you got it though.
But I got it. It don't say it took 5 years on my degree.
Yeah.
It just say I got it. You know what I mean? And so yeah, and bachelor's is for me. It's just
It's a
something I want to
blessing.
do. I've always wanted to go. That's why I said I've always been a nerd. I've always liked school. I always liked learning, and so learning, about me is like ideal. That's
Yeah.
what that's what rehabilitation studies does for me. Like
Come
I think I'm going to go learn about people and why they think the way they think and do what they do, but I
on.
end up learning more about me, and
Come
it
on.
helps me in my recovery.
Come on now. That's a blessing. And y'all, if y'all have any questions for him, go ahead and put them in the comments if you have any. Crystal asks most of them. But yeah, if you struggling or battling or have some questions for him, go ahead and put them in there. But yeah, that's just keep doing what you're doing because you really uh been a blessing to my life, and the
Well,
world
thank
need to know. And y'all can donate to his nonprofit organization. They feeding the homeless out there in Dallas, and he looking for volunteers. So y'all hit him up. Let's see what Crystal say. She still here. You're so sweet. Y'all continue to be on this journey called life. Thank you.
you.
I thank you
Thank
for
you,
tuning
Crystal.
in, girl. You hung in to the end. You were so sweet. Got me feeling all good.
Right.
Thank you, Crystal. But yeah, we went to high school together, so it's a lot of people in the hood battling.
The thing about it is we're programmed to think like we don't even know. A lot of people don't even know that they're in the midst of addiction right now. You
Mm.
know, they don't because like it's socially accepted. You know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
average drug dealer today, these youngsters, they own these designer drugs. They doing like 5 different drugs, and because it's socially accepted, it's wrapped about. They like, okay, then I'm gonna go do the same thing, but they don't know the end game. Like, no one could have told me that I would have been sleeping in an abandoned car,
Mm.
behind getting high. Nobody could have
Wow.
told me I would have been homeless.
Mm.
I thought going to jail all those times was just a part of the game.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was because my addiction had drove me to that. There's a lot of things I had to find clarity with about is what I was saying as far as like supporting my habit and what went on during my addiction. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Is it true that an overdose mean that you got a hold of some bad drugs? This is something I heard before. Is that true?
not necessarily. So the one person that's at the highest risk of an overdose is an individual that's fresh out of jail or fresh out of treatment. Why? Because they haven't had any drugs in their system for, you know, 28 days to 6 months or so, right? And
Mhm.
so you get out and I think I can do the same amount that I did prior to going to treatment or jail or whatever, and I end up overdosing and like shocking my heart. Being like, so if it's a stimulant, like most of the time cocaine, you have a heart attack. If it's a depressant, like
I see
heroin.
half of your face. Can you scoot over a little bit?
Okay, which way? This way? Okay.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So like heroin is a depressant, and
Yeah.
so like what happens with heroin is like you go to sleep and don't wake up. You slow your heart rate down, actually,
Mm.
and you don't wake
That's the
up.
overdose.
That's an overdose.
Mm.
So yeah, like bad drugs. I don't know. I can't say I ever. The only bad drug I got was the one that didn't get me high.
My. Didn't get you high. My Lord. Yeah, that's something I had heard, uh, in the hood. That that you had to hold some bad drugs, with an
Look,
overdose.
the funny part about that addiction, like most people would think that was good though. An addict would think that was good. What? He had a heart attack. What street that was? He on his way.
Really?
Yeah. Like
Wow.
I'm telling you, I've been to some places I didn't never think I've never been on this side of town. They be like, go down this street, look for the porch with the green light, and I'm gonna follow them instructions because they see,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So yeah, addiction will take you to some strange places.
Wow. All to numb some pain, huh?
All to numb the pain. Today I cry on the sad parts of the movie. I'm able to express. I had some things transpire. Like my oldest son is in jail, and
Mm.
and so I had to talk to his mother, and she said some real fly stuff, and it hurt my feelings. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had to talk to some folks and let them know that she hurt my feelings. See,
Hmm.
normally I wouldn't tell anybody. It's not masculine. It's not manly for a man to tell somebody that their feelings were hurt. So normally
Hmm.
I would stuff that, but the pain will become so discomforting, so great that now I want to go self-medicate. And I've relapsed behind my kids before, so I know what that looks like.
Yeah. Wow. And that's real talk. Certain things that'll kind of take you to that place when it comes
Oh
to
yeah,
your children or a parent or a sibling.
you
I
know,
understand.
NA teaches that a drug is any mind-altering, mood-changing chemical, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know I got this old timer that hangs out at the gas station, and you know what he does all day? Buy scratch offs.
Mm.
He addicted to the lottery. He just scratch. He go in the store, buy about $50 worth of tickets, scratch them in his car, and when he win, he take them back and get some more tickets. That's his
Wow.
addiction.
And it's
You
that
why
rush. It's that rush of scratching and seeing what's gonna be on the other side of that dopamine rush.
whatever is going on in his life at that time is no longer evident because he's scratching them tickets. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
That's
He didn't
right.
forgot about it. He didn't change the way that he felt. It's the same thing with alcohol. It's the same thing with drugs. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
changes the way you feel. That's why I wanted to be numb all the time.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where the feelings become so overwhelming that you got to deal with them. You know what
Yeah.
I
You
mean?
got to deal with them and allow yourself to feel.
It got to. God gave us
Wow.
feelings for a reason. He
Yeah.
didn't say they were gonna be comfortable. He didn't say they were all gonna be happy either.
That's right. And you know what I hate? I hate anxiety. I hate it. I cannot stand. But that's just I'm learning how to manage it without putting nothing to it. And that's
Think
all I've been
about
feeling.
so you know what anxiety is. You know what it feels like. Think about the person that doesn't know what anxiety is and going through it. Especially probably an addict. He probably think he having a heart attack because your
Mhm.
heart rate increase and your chest. If you're having
Mhm.
a panic attack like I do, I felt like
Mhm.
I couldn't breathe. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I heard him call my doctor. I mean, I'm having panic attacks.
Yeah. Wow.
But I know what it is today. I'm able to identify that. You know what I'm saying? And that's my thing. If I've said nothing else, anything, no one. If I've not said anything that was worth listening to, please educate yourself to addiction. Educate yourself to mental health. You know what I mean? So because they are closely related. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're first cousins. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
know which came first, the mental health or the substances. You know what I mean? Nobody's
Yeah.
actually, I don't feel, let me say this, that no one's born an addict, but I do feel that drugs are used to cover up what they're going through.
Yeah.
It's a form of
Change. Yeah.
self-medication.
Yeah.
So That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree. I agree. And I thank you for coming on. Addiction affects all ages. That's right. Economic backgrounds and race. That's right. The
Yes, ma'am.
young and the old. The young and
I've
the
seen.
old.
I've been out there on the streets and I seen somebody grandmama. I know she was somebody grandmama
Wow.
out there scoring too. And I'm like, man, why
Yeah.
you out here? She like, oh, I raised my kids. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
yes, she's right. She's very correct.
Wow. Well, I sure thank you. I really enjoyed this conversation. Nobody had no questions, I guess,
No,
besides Crystal. But you said some good things. Let me see if it's in over here. You said some real talk.
I love being on the show with you because I just get to be me. I can say what I want to say.
Yes, you
Right.
can. And
So,
that's really what I want the self love. It's a journey. It's the journey to loving ourselves more, learning the tools to have a healthy relationship with us. So if you're battling addiction, this is, the perfect episode for you to learn how to get to the root of what you're trying to cover up so that you can be better, be kinder to yourself. Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to become aware of what's bothering you, the inner child that was never congratulated or validated or whatever trauma you've been through.
oh yeah, it's trauma. That's
So
a whole
y'all,
nother show.
yes it is. Yeah, it is. So y'all hit him up if y'all in the Dallas area and would like to help him feed the homeless. Uh, he needs some volunteers in Dallas. And or if you want to holler at him about substance abuse or whatever, need some help concerning that or different rehab or something like that, holler at him and he can help you. So
Thank you
thank you
so
so much
much.
to my bro. Thank you to your wife for lending you to me for this hour. And we're gonna get on out the way. Thank y'all for
All
tuning
right.
in to the self love journey. I love y'all and until next time, God bless you. Peace.